Hello fellas. Welcome back to Top 5 Choices. Today's video I am gonna do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best camera phones under $200 2021. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use to for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. Realme 8i Mobile was launched on September 9, 2021. The phone comes with a 6.60-inch touchscreen display with a resolution of 1080x2412 pixels. Realme 8i is powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio G96 processor. It comes with 4 GB of RAM. The Realme 8i runs Android 11 and is powered by a 5000 mAh battery. The Realme 8i supports proprietary fast charging. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Realme 8i on the rear packs a triple camera setup featuring a 50-megapixel primary camera with an f1.8 aperture, a 2-megapixel camera with an f2.4 aperture, and a 2-megapixel camera with an f2.4 aperture. The rear camera setup has autofocus. Fourth comes the Redmi Note 10s. The phone is a slightly more powerful version of the Redmi Note 10, which was launched in March this year. The Redmi Note 10 is still a capable smartphone and it managed a good score in our review. Xiaomi claims to have improved upon the Redmi Note 10 by using a different processor, more RAM, and a higher resolution primary camera sensor, all for a small bump in price. The base variant offers 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage and is priced at 14,999 rupees. The higher variant with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage is priced at 15,999 rupees. The Redmi Note 10s and the Redmi Note 10 look identical, making it impossible to distinguish between the two unless you get the newer model in its exclusive deep sea blue color. This new option has a gradient finish which looks fresh. Just like the Redmi Note 10, the Note 10s is also available in subtle colors such as shadow black and frost white. Third comes the Motorola Moto G40 Fusion. Motorola Moto G40 Fusion Mobile was launched on April 20, 2021. The phone comes with a 6.80-inch touchscreen display with a resolution of 1080x2460 pixels. Motorola Moto G40 Fusion is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G processor. It comes with 4 GB of RAM. The Motorola Moto G40 Fusion runs Android 11 and is powered by a 6000 mAh battery. The Motorola Moto G40 Fusion supports proprietary fast charging. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Motorola Moto G40 Fusion on the rear packs a triple camera setup featuring a 64-megapixel primary camera with an f1.7 aperture, an 8-megapixel camera with an f2.2 aperture, and a 2-megapixel camera with an f2.4 aperture. The rear camera setup has autofocus. It has a single front camera setup for selfies, featuring a 16-megapixel sensor with an f2.2 aperture. Motorola Moto G40 Fusion is based on Android 11 and packs 64 GB of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card, up to 1000 GB. The Motorola Moto G40 Fusion is a dual SIM, GSM and GSM, mobile that accepts nano SIM and nano SIM cards. Connectivity options on the Motorola Moto G40 Fusion include Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth version 5.00, NFC, and USB Type-C. Sensors on the phone include accelerometer, ambient light sensor, gyroscope, proximity sensor, and fingerprint sensor. Second comes the Realme 8. The price of starts at 14,999 rupees and going purely by specifications, is essentially a slimmer Realme 7 with an AMOLED display. The Realme 7 itself is essentially a Realme 6 Pro with a MediaTek SoC instead of Qualcomm, and both these models are also still on sale at similar prices. The top-end variant of the Realme 8, which I'll be reviewing, costs 16,999 rupees. This means it competes directly with the Realme Narzo 30 Pro, which happens to have a 5G SoC and a 120Hz display. Do you see what I mean? Choosing a Realme smartphone today can be quite challenging. The rear cameras are similar to what we saw on the Realme 7 in terms of specifications. At the back, there's a 64-megapixel primary camera, 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera, 2-megapixel macro camera, and a 2-megapixel monochrome camera. However, the primary 64-megapixel sensor is manufactured by OmniVision and not Sony, like the one on the Realme 7. You get a 16-megapixel selfie camera. The camera app offers a rich selection of shooting modes, similar to what we've seen on previous Realme smartphones. First comes the Realme 7 Pro. The price of Realme 7 Pro starts at 19,999 rupees, which is quite a bit higher than the price that the 6 Pro launched at. Its main rivals right now include the Redmi Note 9 Pro Max, review, and the Poco X2, review, and to some extent, higher the variant could compete with the Redmi K20, review, and Oppo F17 Pro. It's time to find out if the new Realme 7 Pro is worth buying. The Realme 7 Pro features the same mirror split design on its back as the Realme 7, but it's a lot slimmer and lighter, even compared to the Realme 6 Pro. This makes it a lot more comfortable to hold and use. The frame and back panel are still made of plastic, but the quality is very good and the phone feels sturdy overall. The rear cameras on the Realme 7 Pro are similar to those of the Realme 7. These are a 64-megapixel Sony IMX682 main camera, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide angle camera, a 2-megapixel depth camera, and a 2-megapixel macro camera. For selfies, there's a single 32-megapixel camera with a rather narrow f2.5 aperture. Compared to the Realme 6 Pro, the 7 Pro misses out on the ultra-wide angle selfie camera and the rear telephoto camera. Realme claims that the new 64-megapixel primary camera should offer similar, if not better clarity compared to a 2x optical telephoto camera. All things considered, I think Realme has done a fairly good job in crafting the 7 Pro. It brings some meaningful upgrades to the Realme 6 Pro in the form of an AMOLED screen, stereo speakers, and much faster charging. The primary rear camera has improved, thanks to the new sensor, but overall, I think all the cameras in general could still do better in low light. I'm not sure if ditching the ultra-wide-angle selfie camera was the best move, as unlike a depth camera, it could actually be pretty useful.